The sacred road from Athens to Eleusis was not paved in roses. The processional route to the sanctuary of Demeter required ascending and descending the rocky limestone mountain of Korydallos. While ascending one of the steepest, most difficult parts of the mountains, one of the young initiates was struggling to keep up with the rest of the group. He was still recovering from a minor injury on his leg. Instead of alerting his companions, he decided to sit by a rock for a while on his own. It was night time, but with his torch in hand, he would be able to easily navigate through the barren landscape and catch up with the rest as they would make a brief stop near the summit. He witnessed the procession disappearing into the darkness, and he was left all alone under the starry night sky. And that is the exact moment he heard a gut-wrenching scream coming behind his back. He immediately stood up and staggered towards its source. A stone-built hut he had totally missed this whole time, standing in the darkness just a few meters down and away from the main path. At first, the young initiate thought that the scream came from a wild animal such as a fox. But when the second scream echoed through the mountains, he could recognize a man's voice clearly suffering. He approached the hut. The door was wide open. He stood at the front and used his torch to illuminate the interior when he was hit with a horrible smell of decomposition. The walls were covered in red-brown stains and the room was almost completely empty. An iron bed was set in the middle of the hut, but what was on the bed was what horrified him. A tiny old man was lying there screaming in pain. His hands were tied on the headboard, while his feet were tied to the bottom of the bed, stretching his entire torso. Before he was able to do anything at all, the young initiate heard footsteps running uphill right behind him. He turned his head, only to see a bearded man with what he could only describe as crazy eyes, walking towards him, smiling. On his left hand, he held the rope. His right hand was placed behind his back, but he could see the edge of a butcher's knife peeking right behind him. This is the 22nd episode of Helinika Podcast. I am your hostess Marielena, just a curious girl in the search of meaning, and today we explore the topic of ancient Greek serial killers. Did they really exist? Let me know your initial thoughts in the comments down below. We all know that the ancient times were pretty violent. In the classical period, it was not uncommon to have wars occurring every year, starting from March till early fall when harvesting began. Warfare was the norm, not the exception, and most ancient Greek men had probably killed multiple people throughout that time. But would that make them serial killers? The FBI defines killing from a serial killer as the unlawful killing of two or more victims by the same offender in separate events. Criminologists, however, stress that what sets serial killers apart is not only their repeated killings, but also the psychological drive behind them. As explained in the Sage Dictionary of Criminology, serial murder involves intentional, repetitive killings, often linked by similarities in victim choice, method, or ritualized signature behavior. Unlike mass murderers or warriors, serial killers act outside social or legal sanction and kill primarily for personal motives, such as power, control, or gratification. Therefore, killings during wartime do not count in this case. The same goes for legal executions, family feuds, crimes of passion, and robbery killings, at least if the main motive was theft. The concept of a serial killer is modern. It did not exist in antiquity, and so far we do not have a record of a confirmed historical ancient Greek who fulfills all the criteria. But before we simply answer negatively to the question whether there were ancient Greek serial killers, there is one character from ancient Greek mythology we should examine. This specific character may be holding the key to the question. One of the heroes mentioned in one of our previous episodes was Theseus, son of the king Aegeus of Athens. He did not grow up as a prince, as he was raised by his mother in another town. As soon as he reached adulthood, it was time for him to prove his worth to his father. He followed his mother's instructions and lifted a massive stone under which his father had hidden his sandals and a sword, proof of his royal lineage. With this, he started his quest towards Athens. On his way, he was faced with many obstacles, including some horrible criminals who were referred to as listē in the Greek text, meaning bandits or robbers. But if we examine the stories one by one, it is clear that they were more than thieves. Their methods, number and type of crimes, and cool of times as well, all point to one direction. They were what we consider serial killers today. The first bandit Theseus encountered was Periphetes, a son of Hephaestus, who lurked near Epidavros. He was known as the club bearer because he crushed travelers with a massive bronze club. Theseus fought him hand to hand, killed him, and took the club from him. This man was not the most terrifying of them all. Near the Isthmus of Corinth, Theseus met Sinis, nicknamed Pitiocamptis, or the pine bender. Sinis would bend huge pine trees to the ground, tie travelers to them, and then release the trunks, tearing his victims apart. Theseus defeated him by using the same brutal trick against him. Along the cliffs of Megara, Theseus came across Chiron, a robber who forced travelers to wash his feet. When they did so, he would suddenly kick them into the sea, where a giant man-eating turtle waited below to devour them. Theseus overpowered Chiron and threw him from the cliff, delivering him to his own fate. The next one was Kekrion, the wrestler, who may not count as a serial killer as he challenged his victims to wrestle instead of attacking them out of nowhere. But then, as Theseus approached Eleusis, he met the most terrifying bandit of this trip. His name was Damastis, but he was known in the area as Procrustes, which means the stretcher. This one is a playbook serial killer. He lived on Mount Korydallos near the Sacred Road, which Athenians would cross to participate in the Eleusinian mysteries. He would sit outside his hut and invite people inside to get some rest. As soon as someone agreed to follow him inside, he would overpower them and throw them onto the bed. If the person was too short to fit into it, he would tie their limbs on the iron headboard and footboard respectively, stretching their entire body, causing them a slow and painful death. If the victim was too tall and their feet or legs were hanging off the bed, he would chop them off with one of his knives. I think we can all agree that the motivation of Procrustes and perhaps of the rest of the bandits was not simply to steal, with the murders being secondary or even unnecessary to achieve that. They all used some bizarre, very specific, ritualistic and unnecessarily brutal methods, making them perhaps some of the first fictional serial killers to have ever existed. Although these figures were mythical, we know that life imitates art and art imitates life. Were the stories inspired by real-life people? I will let you answer in the comment section down below. Now, thank you for watching till the end. Before you go, I want to make sure you are aware of our secret book club here on YouTube, which you can access as a Helinika Society member. The first book for the end of September is The Colossus of Marusi by Henry Miller. If you would like to participate, please check the description and the pinned comment. If you enjoyed watching this video, feel free to like and subscribe and explore the previous episodes, as chances are you will enjoy them as well. The next episode will be published in 2 weeks from now. See you then!